Hello guys, and you're welcome back to our second lesson. And in this lesson, what we're going to do is to create the lines, and basically we're just tracing over the sketch which we created. And to do that, all we need to do is to go over to the Affinity designer persona by clicking on the designer persona. And this is the section where you can create vector art. Basically, that's just it. So what we'll do is to first think about what brush to use. So we have these layers. So I'll just go over here, and what I'll do is to group our layers together. So I'll hit this, click on the last hair shape, hold shift, click on the sketch. Now I'm excluding the background, and I'll just do a Control G to group. I'll just call that girl, like that. So that's our girl group. So what we'll do next is to get a stroke. So I'll just use, we have a recent stroke. Oops. So it's actually selecting, because the transform tool is selected. If we click on anywhere by going to V and deselecting, we haven't selected anything. So let's go over to the pen tool and let's get rid of the fill, and let's use a stroke. So I'll go to color and then use a black stroke and just draw out this stroke. So this is, the stroke is on 0.2, and immediately we created the stroke, we can actually see on our layers we actually have something called curve. Now I don't need the assets and appearance window, so I'll go to view, go to studio. So where I have the appearance, I'll click on that and I'll go to view, studio, and I'll get rid of the assets as well so I can have a little space to work with here. So right now our pen size is 0.2, so I'll just lift that up, drag that up a little bit, and what happens is you can actually see it's on 1.4 and this is the size. So I'll bump it up a little bit to about 5.3, and this is the size we get. So if we want, we can create our character with a point size of 5.3. I believe that's slightly large, so I'll set that to 2.4 or 2.8, or let's round it off to 3. I'm being indecisive here, so I'll set the size of the brush to 3, and what that means is each time we create the let me just drag the navigator, and I want to float it, so I'll just drag it and place it over here so I can zoom in and then move out. So that's how I like moving using the navigator. It's a very awesome tool. You can actually see our brush here, but we don't want our brush to be straight. We want to add a little effect on our brush, and to do that, let's see, let's hit the brush, go over here to pressure, and right here we can add another point. And what we can do is to drag, and we're not really seeing our brush, so I'll just create another one. So I'll hold Control click, and I'll just go over here and create another brush. Now if I jump into the pressure, we can see what's happening. So I'll just drag this down and drag these 2 points, so you can actually see we have a sharp, thin looking kind of brush right here. If I'm able to drag this, you can actually see how it's looking. So we have that tapered sharp edge, and what that means is if I start drawing like that, this is how our brush is going to look like, and it adds a little style to the brush. So I'll just set this to about, say, 4.2. I think that's super nice. So that's the brush we're going to be using, and I'll save this profile and we're good. So I can select these two, I'll hold Control, select this one, delete, hold Control, select this one, and delete. So the first thing we'll do is to start creating the shape around our character, and the first very nice basic simple shape to create is the face shape. To do that, let's go over to the ellipse tool, click on the ellipse, and let's just draw a nice little round ellipse to represent the shape of our character's face, like that. So let's hit convert to curves, and what this does is to make sure we're going to have points we can edit. There's so much we can do right now with the transform tool. We can pull, we can push, like that. But what we need to do is to go over here to the node tool, And once we click on that, we can select these points like so. And remember, she has a little bit of curve right here. It's not super flat. Let's just drag this to make sure we're setting that curve right there. So I'll set this here. And we're setting this curve right here as well. And all we need to do when we click on this point is just drag this off a bit, holding Alt. So you need to hold Alt. Oops, I'll just undo that and undo. So hold Alt and just drag this a bit outwards. Hold Alt, drag this a bit inward till it lines up. And if you want, you can just go over here and do that like that. So let's do that for this edge as well. Hold Alt, push it out, hold Alt, push it out, and you can just drag this point in there. And we could just set this to make it a bit symmetrical, and that's totally fine. So if you click away, this is what we have. And I know these points look strange and don't align, so I'll just drag it over here and push it in just so we can see what we have right here. So that's our basic face shape. We can always change it, we can always improve this. What we can do is to still look for a nice textured brush we can use on our designs. So if I zoom in a little bit, because we can't see it, you can actually see we have a little texture on this shape, which is kind of like that texture. So that's our face shape. So here we're going to just double click and call that face. So this is our character's face, and then all other facial features are going to be built upon this character's face. So let's do the ears. So let's hit the pen tool and let's hold Control and click anywhere to make sure we've deselected that. And for the ears, I'll just start here and draw a triangle and then close that triangle. And next I'll switch over to the node tool and then pull this edge up and then drag this over here. And just like that, we have our ear. Now this point is looking too angular. He's not vampire. So if I go over here and click convert to smooth, all we're going to do now is to drag our handles, and you can actually see we can reset and resize that ear till it fits what we have in our drawing. So we can just make this slightly smaller by playing with those Bezier handles like that. And for the insides of the ear, I'll just quickly use the pen tool, and we can even create a line. So I'll just go over here, create a line, and then switch over to the node tool and then drag this, push this here, and then drag this. So we have something that matches. So for the ear, I'm going to select these two. So I'll float my layers as well and then drag it down so we can just see our layers working. So I'll select the curve for the ear, hold Control, select this one, press Control G, and I'll call that ear left, or left ear. So with this selected, we can right click and go to duplicate. And now what we're going to do is to go over to the move tool by pressing V and then clicking on this flip right here, flip horizontal, hold shift, and you can drag the ear and just place it over here till it kind of like matches and lines up. So it depends. Now you can actually see an issue here. Our ears are of different sizes. So what we can do is to either resize one or to increase the other one. Either way, we have both ears here and they are of the same size. So what do we do next? Let's create the lips. So I'll create the lips in two parts, the upper lip and the lower lip. So let's start with the upper lip. Using our pen tool trick, I'll just go over here and create like an M shape like that. I'll drop it down and close it. Next, what I'll do is to switch over to the node tool and then try to make this organic. So we might need to zoom in so we can line things up properly. So again, I'll just zoom in so I can line things up properly. So here I'll just push this over here, and I can leave this part here. So I'll switch over to the move tool so I can scale everything down and make sure it matches and aligns with this lip. like so. So we've stylized our curve. That's why we're actually having our curve look like this. We stylized it. That's why it's looking slightly thicker and thinner in some parts, just to add some nice little variation. So let's do the same thing for the lower lip. And to do that, I'll just click here, 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 and I'll close this. And with the pen tool selected, if you hold Control, it'll convert it to the node tool. But before I do that, I'll hold Control and click on this point, and I'll say convert to a smooth point, so that all I need to do is to hold Control and just drag these points so I can have that shape for the lip aligned, like so. Now, if for some reason you feel, this lip is too thick and I don't want it too thick, very simple, just select your shape here, or you can use the node tool to select this one, or let's go over here where we have our lips, and we can just resize this like so. So we can resize it, so it doesn't mean we have to stay with that. But just remember, when you're creating your artwork, you want it to be consistent across your entire design. So our design was 4.2. So I'll select the upper lip, hold Control, select the lower lip, press Ctrl G, and I'll just call that lips and hit enter. So now we have the lips. Next, let's just try to bring out the shapes for the nose. So first, I'll create a nice little curve right here, just a straight line, and I'll go over to the node tool and just pull it till it becomes this nice little curve. We can actually see that from here. So next, I'll do the same thing, just point, hold Control, and then hold Control, and we'll just drag this like that, like so, and we'll add these little shapes like that. And this is going to be a shadow shape rather. So, but for this little nostril, I'm going to use the pencil tool, and let's test the size like that. So it's actually good at 2.8, and I'm going to turn off use fill, so that its use fill is off and there's no controller. So what I'll do is to slightly zoom in a little bit and then draw out a little shape like that. So it goes over here. So that's our little nose. So let's group all these together. I'll just click this and drag it and place it over here. Hold Shift and click on this last curve, and I'll press Ctrl G, and we'll call that the nose. So let's save this. I'll call it 02 inking. So it's going to be 02 inking. Just this is where we have begun to do our inking by creating these groups. So here's our main sketch group, and we can actually see what we have here. So it's beginning to come out. I'll just get rid of these guides because they're kind of distracting, and you can actually see our ear, our face shape, and this is our full character. So we have one of the curves for the nose. It's not there where it's supposed to be, so we just drag that and place it right here. Sorry, not in the lips, in the nose. So I believe I actually accidentally put the lips in there, so we'll bring the lips out of that nose group. Let's turn off the nose group. Okay, good. So we have every shape in the nose group where it needs to be, and you can actually create subgroups within a group, and that's exactly what was happening right there. So next, let's work on the eyes. Now the eyes are going to have a whites, right? So the whites of the eye is going to be this shape behind. I'll just switch over to the pen tool. It's going to be this nice little shape behind. That's going to be our eye whites. Then we have our eyeball, and then we can create these curves, these black curves that represent the shape of the eye. Let's go ahead and do that and not just talk about it. So to create the whites for the eyes, I'll still use the pen tool to create. Let's see, let's just hit a point here, 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 and let's just close it, and let's go over to the node tool, click this point, make it smooth, and then we'll just pull this point down like that. So this is going to represent the whites of the eye, and it should have a fill. So I'll just use a white fill for now, but nothing is really white like that. So I'll just make it a little bit desaturated, just like that, and make it slightly yellowish, like that. I believe that's a good color. And it's a HSL 353482. That's the hue saturation lightness value I'm using, in case you want to use that, or you can use the HSL sliders, or let's see, the one that has the hex slider. So it's E0D3C0. That's E0D3C0. That's the color I'm using for the eye. And I think the hex slider is actually a quick way to just impute these values, and you have it. And you can even see E0D3C0 right here for the hex values. So, but what I'm going to do is to turn that off, and I don't need the stroke. Okay, just leave the stroke actually, and then add the eyeball. So I'll just turn this off, turn off this layer like that, turn off, and let's add this eyeball. So I'll go over to the ellipse tool, get rid of the stroke. I just need a black fill. So I can just select a black color here and then draw, whoops. And let's draw this like so and move that over here. So what we can do to ensure that we're actually seeing everything, and I accidentally reset this, so I'll just set everything back because I accidentally removed the color we had for the eye. So I'll click away and turn down the opacity. So I'll go to the curve, turn down the opacity, and what I'll do next is to go to our ellipse tool and use a fill, a black fill, and let's just draw that eye shape like that. Good. So now that we have that eye shape, I'll just drag this over here and we'll set our eye back to 100. What I want to do is to clip this eye shape to be inside the eyes. To do that, it's very tricky, so just pay attention. To do that, I'll click on the ellipse and then drag it till you see a nice rectangle that has shifted to the right a little bit, and release. So once we release that, what's going to happen is we actually have the shape inside. So that's how we can easily get our eye shape right there. And let's just select these two and move them around and see. So you can see it's slightly different. The eye is slightly different from our eye, and we need to fix that. So let's go over to our node tool, select this point here, and just try to make it more rounded like so. And let's go back to our move tool and just drag this and place it here. So I believe this is more representative of our eye. So I'll just call this eye underscore left, but we're not through with the eye yet because we need to add the lashes. So let's just zoom in and see how we can quickly create those lashes. So let's go up here. So I'll use the pen tool. I believe I can use the node tool to gradually just create this shape and then add another one like that. Just three, nothing too fancy. So I'll select these three curves, click the first curve, hold shift, click the last one and drag that. Let's group that. And we'll just call that lashes. And the lashes I want to group under the eye, so I'll just go over here and just drag them like so. So eye and the lashes. And let's create the brow real quick. So let's go to our pen tool. For the fill, we'll use a dark fill. Whoops. So make sure you're not selecting any layer by holding Control and clicking away. And now I'll set the fill to black and then switch to our pen tool. By the way, the shortcut for the pen tool is P. So, and we'll just create a nice closed triangle, switch over to our node tool, and we can just pull this and draw this. We can even increase it, and we could just call it done, like so. So if we want to make it more dramatic, we could just pull it up like that. And let's just zoom out and get a big picture of what we're doing. So now this is totally deviating from what we have. And where we have that, where did we hide it? So let's use the transform tool or the node tool. It's selecting the sketch. So let's lock the sketch group. So I just want to select the brow curve and turn it off. So you can see that's totally not what we have. So let's delete that and start again, because we really want to closely match our character. Because remember, if we deviate from our features, it's going to look totally different. So here I'll add a point here, another one here, and another one here. And all I need to do now is to use the node tool to make this slightly organic, not mechanical like that. And this closely matches our brow a little bit, actually. So what we'll do is to duplicate that by doing Ctrl J and use the move tool to flip, and we'll just move that to the right holding shift. I'll just place that over here. Now we know they match up, but in our drawing it doesn't match up. But before I do that, I just want to make sure the eyes are perfectly symmetrical, and also we can just group everything we have with the eyes, lashes, and the brow. So I'll just group that together. So I'll drag the brow up. So now we have the eye, the lashes, and the brow. So we'll select all three. 1, 2, 3. Press Ctrl G, and we'll call that the left underscore eye underscore all, and hit the return key. And what I'll do is to quickly press Ctrl J, and where I have left, I'll just set that to right, hit the return key, and I'll flip and then hold shift and just drag this towards the right till I feel the placement is kind of okay right there. So let's zoom out, and hopefully we actually starting to see a little bit of the big picture. So now what I'm going to do next is to create the shape for the body, just like that. So this shape, and it's going to be one round shape. So sometimes you need to think about how you want the shape to be. And I also noticed something about the face. If you really look at this, you can actually see that this eye needs to be slightly either pushed here. So let's just see what I mean. So I'll select this, hold shift, and just drag this a bit here like that. And then our face shape, let's select our node tool, always arrange our face shape like that, just to push it over here like that. I believe that's totally fine. Nothing we should worry too much about. So with the pen tool selected, I'll just start drawing the outline of our character. So let's just do that. So I'll start here, click here, and I'm trying to make this outline first. No fill, we just want the stroke, and it's on 2.8, so I'll set it to 4 like so, and we can always continue. So I'll just go over here, here, select this like that, and I'll go over here like that, and then get back here and then select this, get back here and click this point. So we're actually done with the external. So what we need to do is to go to the node tool and start adjusting this a bit so we make it more curvy and soft. So here curvy a bit, make here curvy a bit. So here we're going to push this up, and we're going to drag this like so, and push the arm Push this outwards just a little bit, like that. Push this one here. Push this edge. And here, what we can do here is to make this smooth. It's going to mess it up, but no problem. We can always drag it and pull. I think it's actually good. So if we want, because we have a little outfit shape inside, what we can do is to create that outfit shape and then mask it inside this body shape. So first, where we have the body shape, so I'll just use the node tool and select this. So I'll just call this body. And then in the body, let's use the pen tool, hold control and click away. We'll just create the shirt outline like that. Remember, it doesn't matter, it's going to be masked inside our character. So I'll hold the node tool and just make this slightly organic like that. We can even place it on its own for the body. It's going to be placed on its own. It's totally fine. We'll just leave it like that. So I'll just call this outfit. So we have the body, the outfit. Quickly, let's create the necklace. Now, Affinity Designer has some custom built shapes. So we have a heart tool. We'll just cheat here. So I'll just zoom in the navigator on this little heart and just draw a little heart. And just like that, we're done. We're done with the heart. And we can just use a nice little stroke. So I'll go over to the pen tool, create a stroke and just drop it right here. And we'll just make that slightly curvy like that. And what we can do is just duplicate that line. So I'll do a Control J, head over to the move tool and flip, hold shift and just drag this and place it somewhere around here. Remember, if it doesn't match up, we can always select it and go over to the node tool and just drag this till it's somewhere around here. Doesn't have a perfect match, and we can just drag this till it's somewhere around here. So that's our necklace done. So let's zoom out and let's do the most interesting part, which is the hair. Now again, notice because I didn't convert this point to a curve, it's actually looking very sharp. So I'll just do that and I'll just drag this like so. And what we have from here, we could use Alt and drag this just to get that nice little curvy arm shape. And then over here, we just pull it till it matches. And that's it. All right. So what we're going to work on next is the hair. But before then, I just want to make sure all these curves make sense. So here, I'm going to hold, make sure I'm zoomed out so I know what I'm selecting. So I have the necklace curves, 1, 2, 3. Press Ctrl G and I'll call that the necklace. Hit return and make sure we save. So that's our necklace. We have the outfit and the body. Let's group them together. So I'll just drag this over the top, body and outfit. I'll just call the Ctrl G. I'll call this body and dress like so. So they're all together. I can turn them off now. And I can also turn off the necklace. So I want to work on the hair. So I want to just turn off the facial features. So I'll put the girl group on top of everyone and turn off the eyes, the face. I'll leave the face, but the ears. Now the left ear and right ear, we can just group that together and call that ears. And the same thing with the eyes. So we can group them together. Control G, and we'll call that eyes. We can make this enabled, and then we can turn this off. So we have the face, nose, and now we have this curve which is our left eyebrow. So we've left it from the eye. So let's go to the eyes group and let's turn this off and see if we have a copy. If we do, all we need to do is just disable it. So you can actually see we already have this copy. So this is just an additional copy. We'll delete that. We don't need it. And let's save. And you can actually see how we're making the making it slightly organized. So I have lips, nose, and the face. So I'll turn off the eyes, like I said, so I can have, and turn off the body as well. And yeah, let's disable the face group, or we can have it, we need it available. So if it's still distracting, we'll just set the opacity to like 50%, so you can actually see it's not distracting. So the hair is going to have a front and it's going to have a back. So this is going to be the back of our hair. Let's start with the hair back. So I'll switch over the pen tool, hold control, make sure I'm not clicking on anything, and I'll quickly create the back shape. Now remember, this is the face shape right here. So anything we're doing, for example, if we're doing the front of the hair, it needs to be slightly above this skull, this face shape skull. So but for the back of the hair, I'll just quickly drop this, create those cutouts, and we can go over here and we'll just call this done. So that's our hair shape. So I'll just call this the back underscore hair. So that's our back hair shape. Now let's do the front of the hair. So again, if we I'll just hide the back hair because we're done with that, and let's get rid of this line here because we carefully want to look at where our hair is. So I'll just go over to the designer persona, and if we look at our layers right here, we have it in this girl group. We can turn off our sketch just to see what we have here. So we have the front hair starting here and going all the way down here. So that's our hair front. From right here all the way down here, that's our hair front. So again, I can bring back the sketch and switch over to our designer persona and then just do the hair over here. So I'll hold control and make sure I'm not clicking anything, and I'll go back to the pen tool and begin creating that front hair. So I'll just try to make it super I think I want to start from here and then go over here and then go around. I believe it's better that way. So if I start from here, let's say I start from here, here, like that. So I have another cut here and another little cut. So we go down here and go down here, like that. We have a little partition here. So I'll go over here, here, and finally here. So let's, it looks weird, just bear with me, we'll fix everything now. So what I'll do is to select this and drag this, and then push this up as well. So let's push this edge outside, out like that. And we can leave this slightly, let's just make it slightly, we don't want it to be mechanical. And I believe I don't need this point, so we'll just drag this down here. And let's see if we need this one. Yes, we do, because that's what we use to create the hair shape. And let's just drag this because we're trying to make it aligned. And here it's slightly curvy right here. This one I'm going to convert this point. I think we're good. We're super good. Now for the hair, I want to make it a bit thick, so I'll just drag it like so. And okay, next we have this shape in the hair. So I'll just quickly use the pen tool to create that nice little shape like that. Just a rectangle shape, and I know I can use the pen tool to kind of like make it super like so. Like that, and this is going to be masked in the hair. hair front. So I'll just drag this and make sure it's here. I'll show you a trick on how to create the nice little gaps here, because we're just going to create a layer and then create shapes to hide that, but I'll show you that. So here I'm going to say hair underscore back. So let's hit that. I notice we haven't created the earring, so let's bring in our hair back, which is going to be behind everything, don't worry. So our hair back, front, let's group them together and call everything hair. Control G, not Shift G. So let's call that hair. Like I said, don't worry, it looks super weird. If this hair is going to be behind the face, we're only going to see this section here, right here. This is the only section we're going to see, and maybe this little side here. This is going to be in front of the face, so it's going to cover the skull and the forehead, so we won't see everything. But if we bring everything back, it's going to look like a war zone of shapes here, like that. And I can hide our shape, and our face is 50%. We set it 50%, so it's like that. So we can actually see we have our character and our body. I notice the body line width is super small. It's at 4. So let's just tweak that, make it slightly thicker to have a nice variation like that. And then for the outfit as well, we can choose to make this slightly thick if we want. Depending on what you want, is totally fine. So with this, we can actually add the earrings. So here I'll just set a fill, black fill, and then we can just create that shape for the earrings. So we have one, and we have another one here. So we can group these two ellipses, hold Control G, and call them the earrings. Don't worry, we are going to set the color of the earrings. So what we can do is, if we want, we can group everything together like so, and we'll just call that girl underscore lines. We have lines for the girl, so we can always put this above the sketch so we can see the before. We'll just turn this off. You can actually see how it looks like. Now here's the thing I noticed, the eyes. Now because I want to see more of the whites for the eyes, so I'll look at the eyes, and for the left eye here, let's open this and let's click on this ellipse, and I'll just drag this slightly down so I can see some of the whites of the eye. I actually like to see some of those whites, not really here, like that. And you can actually see what we have here. So I'll drag this and place this here so that when I'm doing that for the other eye, I don't get so the eye right. Let's open the eye, click this, and let's just scale this down a little bit till it lines up like that. And again, this is going to help you have some nice expression for the eye. So I'll just click on this, and I believe they're a little bit mashed up like so. You can use the node tool to quickly select any shape, and you can even move that up a little bit. Yeah, I think it's okay now. So with this, we're actually done with our lines. I see that I might need to fix this and drag it down a bit for back of the hair, but it's not a problem. We can always work on this. All this is going to be behind, so we can just scale this up so it matches with the front of the hair. So we have something like this, like that. All right, so in our next lesson, what we're going to do is start adding flat colors, and these flat colors would help us determine which object is supposed to be in front or which object is supposed to be behind. Also, before I do that, I'm going to fix this edge, because you actually notice this is super awesome, but this edge here looks strange and weird. And let's just quickly do that so we can call this lesson day and then add that. So here I'm going to make this sharp. I believe that's what happened. I'll just drag this down a bit. Yeah, I think it's a bit better now. And yeah, I think it's a bit better now. Just drag this like so and just pull this here. Let's drag this up a bit like that. Let's just make sure we're not missing something down here. I think, yeah, it's fine. And we'll make this much more like so, like that. I believe that's fine. At least this side is roughly trying to be equal to the other side, just to make sure we're a little bit aligned. So yeah, so in the next lesson we're going to start adding flats to make our character stand out. Thank you very much for watching.